So no, seriously, I was just doing a project called "What Is It to Be a Woman." I've been here filming Soph, and Soph suggested after that we have a little chat about glamour, which we
know nothing about, of course.
know nothing about, but we'd like to know about it. So we're going to talk about it and see
what happens.
Yeah.
So I suppose it's more like the journey so far and what's our experiences, and I suppose Jay and myself are similar in lots of respects. I'd say we get each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I remember one of our mentors saying to me about glamour and how I need to work on glamour, and I'm like,
Work on it.
what the fuck are you talking about? I haven't got any glamour. I've got no glamour. I don't know what you mean. And I really at that point didn't know what she was talking about. So it's been a really big journey, and it's still ongoing, but now it's really about noticing it everywhere and doing something about it and clearing it. So it's being open to the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And not covering anything up with sparkles,
Glitz. Nothing to see.
Chandeliers.
Or chandeliers. Chandeliers.
We love chandeliers. It's an old habit. Those little things do die hard, don't they? But yeah, so it's kind of like working with that and seeing where it is everywhere, and whether it be status as well, liking status. Yeah.
Well, I didn't even know what glamour was. Like I heard, I didn't know what it was. So my understanding now, I was the same. I'm like, glamour. What are you talking about?
Yeah. What?
What are you talking about? I didn't really have an understanding of what glamour is. I do now. And so my understanding now is really it's how I can express in a certain way or paint pictures in a certain way so that people perceive me in a way that I want them to see me. And my journey with it really is, the reason that I do that is because of, insecure parts, low self-worth. And so I have, and still do, I'm catching myself a lot because it runs deep. It's like I use glamour and I use glitz and I use, magic, some could say, to prop myself up, because deep down there's wounds of not feeling good enough. And so I worked really hard on it as a youngster or during my teenage years. I was really like kind of obsessed with it, if I'm honest, about how do I need to be perceived in a certain way. And I would mold like a chameleon depending on who I was with so that they would perceive me as I wanted to be perceived. And it was kind of like that nothing to see here. And really, I've got compassion because it's a coping mechanism for pain.
Absolutely.
And it's like I was, really hurt and ridiculed. And the response that I got when I was growing up and I was young from the outside world was it wasn't okay to be who I truly was. Yeah. And so I guess that's a part of why I started putting on these masks and using glamour and stuff just to protect that part of me that's like, well, I'm scared to be here. There's this part of me that's scared to be who I truly am, because the world that we live in at the moment doesn't seem to esteem unconditional love and, or my experience, boys that are loving and kind. And so, that's a part of the reason, I guess, why I started using glamour and glitz, and,
But not being aware of it, didn't know what it was. And like you said, it's like a mechanism, a coping thing.
Yeah.
And I so get that, like that chameleon thing. I could go into any room, anything, and I'd be able to mold myself in a way that would just fit in, whether I'm dealing with royalty or whether I'm dealing with a plumber. I can adapt to whatever. And yes, that can be a really good thing.
It's a skill. Yeah,
it's a skill.
If we're aware of it and using it consciously.
And lifting the vibration of it.
Yeah.
And the reason why and the motives behind it and the agenda and all that kind of stuff that's actually underneath all of that, and why are you doing it, So I so understand where you're coming from as well. And mine was about, maybe being liked or fitting in, or, I felt different. I didn't like feeling different. And at the time, growing up and being half Irish and half Indian, so being called names. So, I kind of like ended up having this exterior and almost like making myself bigger than what I am. I'm quite tall though, aren't I? I am, Jay.
You are very tall.
I'm very tall. I'm very tall.
5'1" and a half. The half makes you very tall.
Yes.
You go from tall to very tall.
Yeah, that's right. With that half, it makes all the difference. So it's having that impression and even probably energetically making myself bigger. Just holding more of a present, but it was more of this armor. You can't hurt me, and so using glamour in a way as well that was like a defense or an armor, or and using magic, and that's just been such a normal part of my existence. So glamour, I don't know what you mean, because it was so ingrained that was my normality. That's what I did. All the masks I had loads of masks, loads and loads, and I've still got them covered. I'm not saying I'm there yet, because I'm certainly not, but
it's manipulative. It's manipulating too, isn't it?
Yeah.
When I look at it, I'm like, oh, it's really like manipulating people and my environment. So that was a little sickening. I'm like, oh, to actually uncover that it is.
And be more okay with this as well.
And it's like, well, and a big thing for me as well, Soph, is like, well, who the fuck am I then?
Yeah.
There's all these layers, and it's like, it's just this process at the moment of going, it's a rediscovering, because it's like, I feel that I'm there already and I've been there already, but I've just laid all this stuff on top. So it's just like peeling the onion back, and the layers back and rediscovering who I am. But it was interesting, like even when we started this, honestly, when Soph just said, oh, we could do a video about glamour, my instant thought was like, I'm not fucking ready. I'm like, shit, I would have had a shave, I would have put some moisturizer on, I would have got myself, it's like, wow, because there's obviously a part of me that still cares what people think that I look like and how they, how I'm going to present.
You've got to look pretty.
I know, I've got to look pretty. You saying I'm not looking pretty?
No.
But it's really, that literally came to me, like the first thing I was like, oh, wow. So I can feel this new part of me, or it's not a new part of me. It's like, I feel a more authentic part of me. It's just like, oh, well, I am what I am, this is how it is. And there's a relief as well as I'm letting go of the glamour, because it's like, oh fuck, the pretense is going.
I know.
And it's like, oh, and as I like let go of like caring what people think and like, oh well, this is how I actually am, there is a relief in my heart about that.
It's freedom.
Fucking freedom.
Freedom, that's what it feels like, freedom. And finding that authentic self, and and it's not having, that's what authenticity, maybe when I get it, I'll be able to pronounce it. But it's that final, and it changes all the time, so you can't say, oh, that's what it is and that's what it looks like. And I found that I did kind of go at one point, who the fuck am I don't know who I am, I don't know how to behave, I don't know what to do, I just don't know anything, I just don't fucking know anything. And having a complete breakdown with our friend Amy and going, I don't know what authenticity, I don't know what it is to be authentic. And the plain and simple answer was to be love in that moment and to choose love in that moment. That's to be authentic.
I haven't heard that.
How about that?
That works.
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's not about this is what being authentic looks like. It just is in that moment what authenticity is. And that's what I mean. When we do this, I don't take and retake and do all that shite, because to me, you lose something. It's got to be real. Just fucking go for it, and it's not perfect. And that's, again, letting go of perfectionism.
I don't know about that. We're talking about glamour, but I don't know about
perfectionism. And not being perfect, and it not being perfect, and being okay with it not being perfect doesn't fucking mean anything. So again, I suppose that becomes being okay with yourself.
Yeah.
And not caring what other people think anymore.
Yeah.
Bit by bit.
and when you were sharing that as well, so with where you were like, I really don't know how to be. It's like my experience in the last few weeks is very much like missing the hype of the glamour.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, because I'm used to everything being, and like, I've shared with Amy actually, like, I just feel like there's no spark in me in that. And it's because all these the personality that I've been leaning on so heavily and all this glamour and how I've expressed is gone. And I'm like, well, where the fuck's the fun and the spark and it's boring. I'm like, where is the glitz and all this? And like, I'm used to being able to, similar to as you say, you shared, go into a room, command the room, you know, and like, you know, just being able to evoke responses in people and you know, charm and all this sort of stuff. Maybe a bit of charisma at times instead of the charm, but it's like, at the moment, I'm just like, none of how I was expressing feels authentic anymore. And it's like, there's this part of me that's just like, everything's really quiet. And I know, you know, Amy shared with me recently that that's got to be, all that stuff's got to be replaced by a deeper connection to that eternal self that I am, and a steadfastness and a connection with life. So that's different for me, but it feels more authentic, it feels real. There is this sense of relief as well, like I shared, of just like, oh fuck, it's nice to be letting go of all the masks and the pretense. It's like, and just being there for myself and going, it's okay, mate, it's safe. I know you know, parts of myself have been hurt in this world, but I'm here now. There's more of me here now. There's a wiser part of me here now. So, you know, I can set boundaries and keep myself safe and come from an authentic place. I don't need to put the masks on. All of that stuff, they're useful skill sets to have though, as long as we're consciously using that to evoke love and to assist evolution. That's, you know, so it's not like throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's like, if we're using it in a refined way and a way that evokes love, then that's okay. And as long as we're consciously, it's not just a pattern and a program running and all this. And there's a lot, you know, I've leaned on like, you know, material things, and, you know, cars were a big thing for me growing up because, you know, the lads, you know, that I looked up to were, you know, they were all into their cars and they were in that kind of scene, and it was all about, you know, cars and girls and party and all that sort of stuff.
You surprised me, Jay.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
really,
that's
really actually happened. Imagine that. And it was funny at the time when I reviewed it, I'm like, I'm not this guy. I knew I was pretending, but it was just fitting in and being a lad and like, you know, what they gave me actually in that kind of, you know, like mid to late teens, what that group that I kind of sort of fell into, who are a lot older, they're all like late 20s and that, they gave me this sense of belonging. I know it wasn't belonging, but they gave me this sense of being loved and belonging, which, you know, all of us, all human beings have this deep need to belong to something and to something bigger, and we know that. But they gave me that, and they used to call me J Baby, and I was like, you know, they loved me in a way, you know, they loved me, and it was like a love that there was, you know, a sense of belonging and fitting in and being loved. But it was, you know, it was quite unhealthy. But a lot of my, you know, glamour and stuff that I picked up was just, you know, what is it when you pretend to be like someone else, or you pick up on stuff? Not, you know, like it was like I saw them and I liked how they, you know, I liked how they were expressing. So it's not emanated, it's
But when
you like take on characteristics.
when you emanate somebody.
Yeah. So I was like, a lot of that has come from that, impressions from those times.
And you know what? That's, you know, you talk about like that intensity and the drama and all of that. And if it's not drama and it's not intense, and nothing's fucking working, and, you know, it's like, oh my God. And as that starts to kind of go and you start to kind of, like you said, just like release like an onion, like layer after layer, and you think, oh my God, and it's all a bit more still. You're like, fuck. It's a bit quiet in here, isn't it? It's a bit quiet.
Yeah.
Nothing. No, God, is this it? Then
Watching
am I never
the
going to
rain.
feel this excitement again and stuff? But what happens, Jay, is it does come back. And I remember I shared that with you the other day. It comes back differently. It comes back, and it doesn't have to be a drama. It doesn't have to feel intense for it to be working. You know, the whispers. It's the things that you have it, but it's an internal thing. This is my experience, that it's just different. The intensity is there, but it's different. It's not all screaming bells and whistles and it's noisy. It isn't. It's more still. It's more centered, I suppose. It's more, but that's my journey. That's how I feel. And now I don't need to have it really loud. I don't need to have, and I don't find it boring anymore. I'm actually really, really, really fucking enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it. It's like something new that just feels, hey, it's all right. Everything's all right.
When you say bells and whistles, that's exactly what it is. It's like, it was just always like, you know.
What's next?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. And it's
where
me,
we're going
it's me,
now?
it's me,
Yeah.
Very there's so much self-centeredness in it, and yeah, lots of
self-absorption.
It's all about me.
Yeah.
I hear that when we're a kid, you know, it's meant to be all about me when I'm a kid. It's meant to be all about, and then you develop that strong ego only to transcend it. So we're meant to grow out of it.
I see.
Meant to grow out. It's out of it's all about. So
Yeah.
anyway, a few decades on,
Yeah.
it's starting to.
Work in progress, hey?
Yeah.
But-
So.
Well, it's been lovely doing this.
Yeah.
Have a little wee chat.
Yeah. I think that's it.
Yeah.
I just, for me, it's like it's quite beautiful at the moment for me, because I can feel myself landing. I feel like the presence that I used to feel so clearly as a kid is starting to come back. I'm like, oh, it's like this sweetness and this innocence and this part of me that before I started layering on, it was just like okay to, like really actually okay to be as I am. And yeah, so I feel this new part of me landing, and just a process of being aware of where I'm trying to, you know, prop myself up and paint pictures and glamorize things and make things all fluffy and lovely and, you know,
Moisturised.
and moisturise, yeah, because I was like, fuck, so at least she had time to do makeup, because she got
20
ready,
minutes.
got ready before the shoot before, and I'm like,
Quickly.
you're gonna throw me in like this, I haven't even done my fucking eyebrows. You know what I'm saying?
No. Actually, yeah.
You noticed, I knew you would. Well, we're gonna stop this and we're gonna do another take.
We are not.
Have you got anything else?
I think that's pretty good. But Glamour is a journey, and it's great to unravel, reveal, share. And I just hope that if there's anything in there that's going to help anybody else to kind of go, oh, maybe it will, and see what happens.
Yeah.
But
sharing is good. Getting it out and being open, it's like it can't hide as well. Like even doing this, it's like going, hey, guess what? I've got all this glamour and I do it because I want to be liked, and I've got all this stuff running. So it's just nice to get that out and share like this as well, because it's like, oh yeah, that's there and it can't hide as much when we're being so open about it.
Acknowledging it all.
Acknowledging it. Look, there you are. I see you. You can't hide.
No.
I can clear you. Yeah.
And then acknowledging just takes the power away from it. So that's been my new thing. Acknowledge everything. When you acknowledge it, takes the power away, and fuck, it makes your life a little bit easier. Nothing to hide. Unraveling.
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here.